Check this out. All right, we're at stop number 4 here on our tour, and it is looking fantastic. I'm sitting on the front step because one of the things I like is this view. We wanted to have that bubbling basalt in there to kind of give you a different perspective so that you could sit on the front step. So that bubbling boulder is nice and easy to be seen, throwing out some sound really nicely to your front step. We're also seeing this nice calm stream, and what a cool spot for birds to just come and drink out of. I love how they've decorated it. They're ready for Halloween, and these guys are always sending me pictures. They decorate it for the different seasons. They get it ready for Christmas, and it looks fantastic. I love the backdrop that we have everything starting off of, and you can't really tell where the waterfall's starting from. And then it splits around that really cool character boulder. Again, we found this superior stone, and it has this way of just kind of transporting you to the North Shore. Even though we're up here in Forest Lake in a nice suburban neighborhood, it still transports you and has this magical feel to it, like you're in a different area. At night, they've got color changing lights, and it just looks so cool. What a really cool way to welcome guests to your home. What a great way to add curb appeal. I mean, everyone who drives by is seeing this. It's a great way to get to know your neighbors. And I can just see myself just putting a hammock right here on a nice, cool fall day like we have. And you just drift away and take a nice nap to that sound of running water. I love the way this is looking. One of the things that happened when we first got here is they had it turned off, and that's one of the things I wanted to actually tell you about if you're considering owning a water feature. This is in direct sun, which would maybe potentially make it grow a lot of algae. But with pondless waterfalls, you can turn them on and off however you like. So when we got here, we were actually a little panicky because it was turned off. We're like, oh no, it looks really cool, but we don't get to showcase it because the water isn't running. But the family was able to pull up in their car and told us it's on a timer. My dad's at work right now, but don't worry, it's gonna turn on at 1. Sure enough, 1 o'clock it turned on. So they turn it off during the day so that the sun can actually dry it up, cook off any algae, and that way it looks brand new every time it turns on. Doesn't this look fantastic? Thank you guys. Thank you for loving it. Thank you for just enhancing it. I love the gnomes hidden throughout too, where you kind of have to go peeking for them. It's just a lot to discover. Another thing I love about this is that's a unique rock that they got from a friend of theirs out west when he was actually building his home. They blew up that rock. So he was a part of actually getting to blow up the rock to dig into the mountainside, and he was able to actually take some of the shale from what he blew up and bring it in here and incorporate it to the water feature. Isn't that awesome? Gosh, I love coming back to our babies. It looks so good. I love my job. All right, so we're at project number 5, and just look how lush this looks. We're right in the middle of Minneapolis. We're only a few minutes from downtown, and it does not feel like it at all. In fact, you could almost hear the highway if it weren't for this awesome waterfall. We were called in to build this about 3-4 years ago, and it has really done just nicely filling in with that lush greenery. She's done a great job of planting it. It's such an honor to come back and see a well-loved water feature, as I say time in and time again. But we really do put our heart and soul into this for our clients, and to come back and see it enhanced, see it loved, and see it enjoyed just is really what matters most to us as a team, and it really excites us. I love the way this is positioned. You know, we've got an awesome bench to sit on right next to the sheath shed. I have such a hard time saying that. We really like how it's tucked back in here. We've got greenery growing. I can't imagine how beautiful this looks in the summer when all this is popping and you've got different flowers going. Like I said, it's the fall right here in Minnesota, and we're starting to get into our dormant season. That's why you're gonna see some of these leaves starting to fall and fall into it. And then we just wanted to show you what your water feature might look like when fall comes. And this is very much what your water feature would look like. You can see there's some leaves in the basin. All you have to do is just clean those out regularly, pay attention to it, make sure that it's not creating a dam where the water would ride over the top of the leaves and then out of the system. But look at the positioning of this. It just sounds so perfect. It's throwing the noise right at their balcony that's right off of their master bedroom. And I gotta imagine at night, it just looks like it's like its own picturesque world. You're in this private paradise. The lights come on and it creates that light show at night. I just would love to come back here, but time is limited, so you're going to want to keep watching. Hit that subscribe button. We only have Jared here for a day, but in these episodes, we're trying to get in our tour some nighttime shots. So we've got a couple scheduled that you're going to want to watch. One that has some color changing lights and one that has white lights. So we want to give you an idea of just what it's like to own a water feature throughout the different times of the year and throughout the different times of day. So make sure to hit that subscribe button, tune in, because that nighttime episode will be a later one of our revisiting series. But what's most important to me is the one we're at right now, and it looks so fantastic. I just love it. I'm honored to come back to it and see it running perfectly. The water's nice and clear. I like how they've got driftwood added into it for enhancing it. I love how the ground cover is just creeping around those rocks and just really making those rocks pop, making them almost look bigger than they actually are. It's so fun to come back. This is our medium aquascape ecosystem pond. It's our deluxe. It has 3 extra pumps. So we're running 3 large pumps, about 80,000 pounds of boulders, wetland filter, tons of stream, lots of things happening. The pond itself takes us about 3 weeks to do. So you're close to like 300 man hours, somewhere in there. And this one would go for right around $40,000.
For $40,000, you can have by far the coolest yard in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you literally got into this hobby because you bought a house with a pond, and now you're ordering fish online and raising them up in your garage. Yes, sir. I love that.
So we're at stop number 6, and this is a pond we built back in 2016. We didn't just do the pond, we did the patio, the front step onto the opening right up to those sliding glass doors, but it is so fun to come back to something that's a little more mature, that's tucked in underneath this giant tree, because we get this shade, and that shade lets this moss grow over all the rocks. And this is so fun for me because that creeping Jenny has done just a beautiful job of just growing up over these rocks and really making these rocks feel like they're coming up out of the ground. I love just walking around here, right? There's so much interactivity. We've got a little walking bridge of that huge stone to cross the rocks and take you through the pathway over to that arbor, and you can kind of walk all around the pond. We've got a cool little island area for us to plant. We separated the water going around both spots. The side that's closest to me, we made more of like a whitewater rapids, and the far side was meant to be more of a calming waterfall as it kind of twisted through a little bit more narrow. We also did these cut stone staircase here. I love these these boulders. They take them and they cut them at exactly 7 inches high, so they're just like a step you would have on a deck or inside your house. But then they fire them, so they actually hit them with a torch, and that gives the texture to them, so they're really nice to walk on come winter. And you might be wondering, hey Nick, why are you showcasing a pond that has a net on? Remember, this revisiting series is all about showing you what you could expect when fall comes. This is a humongous tree. I don't know if that's 150 years old, 200-year-old tree. It's just beautiful. And we're very lucky. There was a pond here before we even started working, so we felt confident that we could put this pond here without affecting this awesome tree. But the downside of having a big tree like this is it's gonna drop tons of leaves. And you can already see where we've got leaves kind of all over. Our client came up with a great idea, and this is a service we do also offer to our clients. It's our netting service. But he's got these big galvanized pipes so that the net has tension on it, getting all the leaves to fall one way to the other. If those leaves were to fall onto the water surface, they end up getting waterlogged, and it's just like putting tea into a cup of water. You're gonna get that water turning brown, which isn't exactly ideal, but the big thing is we wanna keep those organics from really collecting in the bottom of the pond. So having him net the pond is really good for the fish, really good for the ecosystem, and making sure that this is easy to clean come spring, or relatively easy to clean. Another thing you'll notice is that the koi are now moving relatively slowly. They're just kind of going very slowly. They're not eating much anymore. That's very common what you're gonna notice. They're still fun to watch swim, but they are definitely going into their dormant stage and getting ready for the winter. One of the awesome things about koi though is they are meant to be in this kind of environment, so they can handle our outdoor winters. All we really want to make sure we do for the winter is have a hole in the ice with an aerator, and they can stay in there all winter, making sure that you don't have any predators, I should say. If you have a mink in the area, that's something you want to be careful of. What's great here is they have some huge dogs in this fenced-in yard, so that really limits any chance of any predators getting to them. Again, the moss growing on the rock is one of my favorite things. It just makes it look weathered, and it makes it feel like it was always here. Again, my hat's off to Justin. This is a patio we built back in 2016, and there's no collecting water spots. There's no upheaving. The patio looks fantastic. It looks like it hasn't moved at all, which is what Justin is really good at. We overdo our base, we over-engineer, and this is the reason why. We're going on year 8 of this being here, and it looks almost like we had just put it in. Fantastic. So I'm loving it. We are Pond King Water Gardens, where we create living works of art, 1 yard at a time.